complained, and the memories of nearly 9 decades paraded themselves through her imagination, Lillian Fairchild made her way to the study she'd created in the tower room many years before. In the dark, ensconced in the window seat her granddaughter Zoe had so loved, she sipped a soothing cup of tea and watched the sea. One of the reasons she'd refused to leave the rambling old house, despite the damp and the cold, was this view of the sea. The manor perched on a cliff overlooking the village and offered a full, unobstructed view of the coastline for miles and miles. Tonight, the waxing moon had not reached its zenith, but the light was nonetheless bright and clear, illuminating the fishing boats and yachts anchored for the night just offshore. It was the moonlight that revealed a small sailboat making its silent way toward a pair of yachts, shadows on the sea. So many strangers these days, Lillian thought, taking a sip of tea. In her youth, tourists had been few and mostly hailed from other parts of England or perhaps France, and the odd, loud American. Now, when she made her rounds of the village, there were as many tourists as locals, and they were a well-heeled lot by the look of them. Men who golfed and brought their expensive sailboats to harbour, women in oversized sunglasses shopping the art stalls and antique shops, many of them speaking some language other than English. She missed the days when she knew everyone. Of course, she still knew the locals. It was her business to stay abreast of the village gossip, to lend verisimilitude to her long-running series about Lady Dorwood and her good friend Flora, a village baker who solved crimes around the countryside. The pair of mild-mannered, middle-aged widows had made their creator most comfortable. "There's something going on in the village," she thought, and she watched the shadow boat slide stealthily out to the dark sea. Suddenly she saw the scene through Lady Dorwood's eyes, viewing it as if from the perch of her castle tower. Something is amiss in the village. Lillian stood and made her way to the computer. An idea was a terrible thing to waste.
Chapter 2. Zoe. At 7 p.m. England time, on the 24th of April, my friend Diana's texts ceased. I didn't notice right away. Although we had been friends from childhood, our friendship had been under strain for more than a year. We'd been so aloof with each other that we had barely spoken. She'd sent me a handful of texts over the past couple of months, and I'd either replied curtly or not at all. The one last Friday had gone unanswered. This Friday night, I stood at the small dining table in my territorial adobe in Santa Fe, shoes off by the door, coat still on, and sorted through the mail. "Isabel?" I called. She didn't immediately answer, and although she nearly always listened to music on her headphones, I shucked my coat to go check on her. I knocked and popped my head into her room. "I'm home. You hungry?" Her long, lanky form was stretched out on the bed, one knee cocked over the angle of the other. In her hands was a paperback with an outlandish and gaudy cover that I recognized from her dad's collection of science fiction. Moshi, her giant ragdoll cat, stretched out beside her. She held up a finger for me to wait, an established sign between us. I waited until she'd finished the scene and then tugged off the headphones. "Hi. How was your day?" A shrug. "I had pizza with Dad." I was stung. Even when I told myself that competition between parents was foolish, and that being a bad husband didn't mean a man was a bad father, I hated it when Martin intruded on these rituals. "Pizza is our Friday thing," he offered, so I went. She swung her legs down over the side of the bed and smoothed her wild, curly black hair, tugging it away from her face and squeezing it tight, in a gesture she'd used since grade school. "You want some eggs?" "Sure, that's fine." The therapist said Isabel should have things to do around the house and be engaged, so she'd chosen to cook for me when I came in from work. To make sure she wasn't alone too much, she also had to eat meals with someone. Me at breakfast.